Okay, so now I'm just putting a little bit of heat to the area. I want to try to straighten. This I can do with a bit of plywood as well to help keep the level. And all it's doing is tightening up the molecules on the foam. Just be careful that you don't actually melt the foam. It's just it doesn't need a lot of heat, so it's a slow process but one worth doing. Just try to get this a little bit more. What I'll also do is sometimes in areas that need it a bit more prolonged is I'll do it with a warm wet cloth on the area and clamp it all up between the wood. Hopefully now this will bring it back to shape a little bit. And then what I'll do at the end is glass cloth it all, but with using a PVA instead of epoxy to keep the weight down. Okay, it's feeling quite good. As you can see now, I've also glued that section on and glued these two parts together, so that's come out quite well. Quite pleased. I've stiffened it up a little bit. This area will still be weak here, purely because there's no other support around it at the moment. I'm happy with the shaping. All this will just need a little bit of fillering. All the creases you can see, like here and here, just put some filler on and then I'll epoxy it all in. Or glass cloth it, but I don't use epoxy. I use this product, Policy, on the lightest weight glass cloth I can. I'll also, on the inside of the fuselage here, I'll put some wooden strengther, maybe something like a piece of ply like that, just to strengthen that joint up on there like that. That will suffice. I can also maybe warm that up again and just clamp this on just to give it, try to get the straightness, but I'll glue the front end on first just to make sure everything's in line properly. But, up to now quite happy with the way it's going. Okay, as you can see, I've already managed to glue the front end on now. It's not too bad underneath the fuzz here. It's off step a little. That'll be filled before clothing. But on the whole, not too bad. My next job is to put a light ply plate into here to strengthen the joint. I'll also do the strip there and then same on the opposite side and the two side walls. As you look down the fuzz, you can see like here is not quite straight, so when I put the light ply plate up here, I will squeeze it all together to try to get it flat with a piece on the outside as well. Best we can. I'd like to line it up as best we possibly can. The left side is not too bad at all. I'll do a dry run of the canopy before I glue any of these upper side walls. So it'll have also a heat treatment to try to get that out. So ply plate on the inside, a bit of a wet cloth on the outside that's very hot. And just leave it all clamped up for about 20 minutes just so that the heat can get to it, and hopefully it'll just hold it all in place. The front end of the nose cone, as you can see here, is not too damaged, so it's literally going to be, thankfully, just this sort of intake area forwards. Okay, I'll put the ply plate on now, gluing with aliphatic glue. This is relatively quick setting. This box is my ballast weight for my swing, which is now hopefully pressing everything down, and the plate will be sealed down fully. Okay, again I'm using aliphatic glue. I've now glued the piece of light ply across the joint area. These are just bearers to spread the load to help the light ply take shape. As you can see now, I've done the ply plate strengthening. There's one in the top half, one on the quarters, one on the bottom. Same on this side, again on the quarter, on the side. Just need to take the bracings off there. Do that in a minute. And what I've done on the outside of the model is I've put some carbon flat across, 2 cuts. That's just to give it its rigidity, and the splitting ran all the way through, so this needs sanding down, this area now, and then a bit of filler on there just to fill the last holes in. I embedded them in with epoxy, so I've got this to do on the other side of the fuselage yet, but quite happy with the way it's going so far. I'll glass cloth the underside of this and replace that next, and then glass cloth everything in. So that's my next job. Okay, as you can see now, I've glass cloth the base underneath where the multifunction unit will go on, so underneath the tray there. Once that's set enough, I'll make a start at gluing then the frame back on. But that's, as it stands at the moment, I think just 1 coat shall be enough. I've used a lightweight glass cloth and policy as the it's not a lot of strength, but I'm just conscious that we don't need the strength so much, because I put the ply plates in and the carbon stitching, so I don't want to add too much weight to the front because it is already a heavy model that way on. So, but let me say, I'm happy just to give it that lightweight glass cloth with a bit of policy on it. Okay, there you can see I've finished the bottom tray, glass clothing, quite happy with the, I shan't do any more now. And tomorrow the MF unit and ply plate will be turned around and glued back onto here. And then I'll put a strengthening beam all across, which I'll explain across the length. I'll explain why. It's not just to strengthen this joint, but also I'd like to raise the battery part while I'm doing this, because where the battery base is, when the wing joiner is in place, I can't get the batteries far enough back because they're quite a little bit, they're about 10mm higher than the mounting plates. So I'm going to raise the mounting plates a little bit, and so I can get my batteries as far back as I possibly can in the model, just to help with the CG. These repairs will have definitely added a bit of weight to the nose, which I didn't really want because it was already a little bit too nose heavy. But let me say, so far so good with the way we're going. It's all nice and solid now. Now it's quite easy. You probably don't see it on the video, but I am twisting a lot with very little flex in it, so you can see just perhaps, I'll come on and zoom in, where I've done a little bit of glass clothing across here, and I think when that's painted it won't need any filling in like I've done up here. So see how we go with that. Just, as I say, trying to do a couple of different techniques, that's all. It's the first time I've done a comprehensive repair on foam like this, so it's a bit of a learning curve really. Okay, I've done a couple more steps. The white that you can see on the body is where I've filled it and tried to reduce the number of wrinkles. For this I've used Wonderfill. It's a product from Deluxe Materials. This is quite lightweight. After 12 hours it sets quite hard but very easy to sand. Then I've used a lightweight glass cloth over the top of that, and I've used Poly-C to hold that down instead of epoxy to keep the weight down. The strength is quite nice, even on the, let's say, surface. It reduces even like a nail mark. If you did that on the foam and tapped, let's say here, you'd leave a nail mark, but here I don't think it adds a lot of strength to the rigidity, but it does at least give it a nice finish. It's a little bit of sanding to do like a piece there, but other than this is a raw finish which I'll leave. So there's just them couple of pieces here. I'm not quite sure what they are, but probably a bit of sand or something. This will just be cut back with the knife and trimmed off. The edges are, I've gone around the edges a little bit as well with the glue, with the Poly-C. So this now will leave a nice finish when I go around with a blade. I've also done a little bit more on the inside of the aircraft. So now I've just got to screw down the MFU, but this plate, the plate's back in, and I will put a brace from there to there just to brace over the joint to give that some strength. A screw into there. Unfortunately the tab is broken there, so I'm not quite sure yet what I'll do there. I might just rely on 4 screws yet, not sure. So, but anyway, we'll see with that. But as I say, some strengthening along there, and another piece of ply I'll put down there because I want to raise this platform, because the batteries are not sitting high enough to get them over the wing spark joiner that comes through in that location down there. So I'll show that on a video in a bit. It's coming on quite nice. All the ply strengthening's in, very light ply. All I've got to do now is do the other side as I've done this side, but it's coming on nicely, slowly but nicely. Okay, I've now got the strengthening beams in across the battery plate and MFU plate, so that'll give a lot of strength now to this joint here. The holes that you see in the wood of where I've screwed it to ensure I get a good adhesion with the glue and a good joint. It wasn't quite level, so if you looked along the length of these, it would actually be bowed a little, because the repaired half where the MFU is slightly higher. So I just screwed it down just to be safe. I've got it glued everywhere. Here also you'll see it is temporarily laid in at the moment, but this is my intention with the a new battery position or battery tray, because what I want to achieve is to get the batteries right against the bulkhead. At the moment, without this tray, what's preventing it is the wing spar that goes through, or the wing tube for the spar. If I didn't put this plate in, I can't get the batteries right against the bulkhead because the wing tube's about 10mm higher than the actual battery tray. So I'm going to do it as a dry run though. I want to check the CG with it in, because I have a funny feeling that although I get my batteries against the bulkhead, the weight of this frame will counteract getting the batteries back, and anyway the CG will be too far forwards. So as I say, I'll do that with a dry run before gluing it down, and if not, it doesn't matter, just go revert back to where we were before with it. So the whole underside is finished. That's the other side that I did earlier a couple of days ago. Now this side's finished. I will need to put another coat of glue on. I don't know if you can see it, but still some weave of glass cloth showing. It's got the glass cloth as well over the beam, so that will strengthen the beam a bit. Debating whether to fill these ripples in or not, or just paint. I think I may just end up painting that. I think I've added enough weight now, but it does look a bit ugly, but it is the underside of the plane, so whether it'll actually matter or not, strength wise doesn't, it's pure aesthetics. So, but yeah, overall quite nice. This bit's all finished now, and again it makes it very ding proof. It's not adding a great deal of strength to the overall strength, let me say, because it's only the poly C, but it makes it more ding proof and easier to paint and better looking finished off. Okay, the repair's now complete. Not quite got it right on the colour match, but it's a little bit darker than the actual plane, but the red I chose, but with it being an acrylic paint, or requiring acrylic paint, it was difficult to match, but quite pleased with the overall repair. As you can see from this side, the inside is now also all complete. Still not done the battery tray now. I want to do a CG test before I glue that down. The model a little bit, and you can see now I've just still got a bit of just put some poly C on to make it a bit more glossy, so that's why this is a bit white here. But overall very pleased with the repair.